What's up everyone? Welcome back here to the Megan Moves channel. Guys, I'm in the middle of my weekly meal prepping and I wanted to share with you guys a recipe that I've been using recently as far as my meal prepping goes, and that is a chicken basil pesto dish. Guys, this recipe checks off all of the boxes as far as a meal prep recipe goes. It is super easy to make. It lasts throughout the week. It is delicious, healthy, everything that you are looking for in a meal prep recipe. So I wanted to show this to you guys today so that you can maybe start using it in your life when it comes to meal prepping. I typically make this dish in my Instant Pot, but it can definitely be made in a skillet as well. So let's go ahead and get on into making this recipe. One of the great things about this recipe is that there aren't a whole ton of ingredients that you need in order to make it. All that you're gonna need is all that we have showed right here. You're gonna need a pack of chicken breasts, a pack of green beans, some pesto sauce, a pack of cherry tomatoes, and a little bit of olive oil. So the first thing I do when making this recipe is I prepare all the vegetables and the chicken before I actually go to cook it. This recipe is going to vary depending on the individual. It depends on how much you typically like to eat for dinners throughout the week, but I'm just going to show you guys what I like to do, how much I like to use, and you can adapt the recipe and the ingredients to yourself. When it comes to preparing the chicken, the first thing I like to do is take it out and rinse it off in the sink, and then use a cutting board and cut off any excess fat that might be on the chicken, so that way I do not cook it in the Instant Pot. Then what I like to do is I like to chop up the chicken breast in smaller quarters. That way it's easier to fit in the Instant Pot, it's easier to cook, and it's also easier to fit in Tupperware containers when I go to store it throughout the week. Next, I'll prepare the green beans and the tomatoes. What I like to do is I like to rinse off the green beans, and I will snap off the ends of the green beans so that way they are easy to cook and they are able to cook without those inside the Instant Pot. And when it comes to preparing the tomatoes, what I like to do is I will typically take the tomatoes, I will rinse them off, and then I will cut them down the middle so that way they are easy to eat and also cook whenever they are in the Instant Pot. Next, once all of the ingredients are prepared, I will add the chicken into the Instant Pot and cook it on the pressure cooking feature for about 10 to 12 minutes. Now, depending on the size of your chicken and if it is frozen or not, that will determine how long it will actually take. But what I like to do is I like to put it in there for 10 to 12 minutes and I'll let it cook. If it is not done whenever I release the pressure and I see that it's still a little pink, I will put it in there for a couple more minutes, but I'll usually only do 10 to 12 minutes because whenever you are done cooking it in the actual Instant Pot, once you go to actually saute all of the ingredients together, the chicken is still going to have a little bit of time to cook during that time. So I typically just use it for 10 to 12 minutes in the Instant Pot so that way it cooks just right, but still has enough time to be able to cook whenever everything is put together. Once you see that your chicken is all cooked and ready, what I like to do is I will take the chicken out, put it on a separate plate, and I will quickly rinse out the inside of the Instant Pot because you're going to be using it again. After it's a little bit rinsed out, what I like to do is I will put the olive oil in the actual pot, and I like to put it on the sauteing function. Once you see that the oil is up to temperature, you'll start to see it bubble a little bit. That's when I like to add my green beans. I will add the green beans in there and I will stir them around and get them a little bit cooked because the green beans are the things that are going to take the longest as far as cooking in the actual Instant Pot. So I will saute the green beans for a little bit. You'll see that once the green beans become a bright green color, that is your cue to go ahead and add the chicken and the pesto. So once you determine that the green beans are done, add your chicken like I said, and this is when you're going to also want to add your pesto as well. When it comes to adding the pesto, I add enough to make sure that everything is covered. There isn't a specific amount that I will use. It's also dependent on you, how much you like as far as the flavor goes. If you want a lot or a little, it's up to personal preference, but what I like to do is I will typically use about half of the jar when it comes to actually using this recipe and the ingredients for my meal prepping. So I'll use about the half of the jar of the pesto, and I will add that in there and I will mix it around with the green beans and the chicken. So you'll continue to mix it around, make sure that everything is good and mixed and also still cooking. You can see how the green beans are doing as well, if they're starting to get a little bit more cooked. And then the last thing you're going to want to add are the tomatoes. Now the tomatoes cook super quickly, so it's important to know that you have the green beans and the chicken all cooked to the right amount, because when you add the tomatoes in, it's not going to be a long time that they are going to be able to be in there. And you also want to keep in mind that you don't want to necessarily overcook this meal, because you are going to be eating it throughout the week, and you might be heating it back up in the microwave or however you want to reheat it. And that's also going to be a little bit of cook time that you're going to have as far as this recipe goes. So what I typically like to do is I like to make sure that the green beans and the chicken are all good and cooked, and then I will add the tomatoes in. And what I do as far as gauging if the tomatoes are done is I like to see the skin a little bit wrinkled, not too much. You don't want to get them too mushy because they might not be good to eat throughout the week. So that is a gauge that I like to use as far as the tomato goes. And that's a good gauge for you to know when you should stop cooking the entire meal. And that's about it, guys. It's super easy to make this meal. After it's all good and cooked in the Instant Pot, I like to take it out and put it in separate Tupperware containers and store it in the fridge throughout the week. It's a great meal prep recipe, guys. I've been using it for a while now, and it's very tasty. A nice dish to enjoy throughout the week, one that's easy to make, like I said, and as you have seen, and it's a recipe that you're not necessarily going to get sick of eating throughout the week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I will get back to you with some answers. Hope you guys enjoyed this meal prep, and let me know if you're gonna check it out and try it out for yourself. If you're interested in keeping up with my channel and seeing future videos like this, be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like to be able to stay up to date on all that's going on with my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. Hope you enjoyed again, and we will see you next time.